Donald Trump took a very different tone this morning, one that is almost certainly in response to the unhinged hysteria that is taking over X and Truth Social with a flood of literal fake news and fake anonymous sources that have us going to war and getting a peace deal and going to war and then not going to war and then going to double war and then triple war, all within about 8 minutes. People I used to respect knowingly sharing obviously fake news, having hysterical meltdowns. It's very, very odd. Now, I understand why everyone is so emotional and wants their voice to be heard, wants Trump to know that we don't want anything to do with any kind of long-term entanglements with the Middle East or really any other country at that point. One of the biggest reasons I voted for Trump was to make sure, I felt like he was going to bring an end to the Ukraine-Russia stuff. I thought he was going to facilitate an end to the Israel-Gaza stuff. Neither of those things have happened yet. I don't think it's not like he hasn't tried. But now we've got this Iran thing, which we are very clearly a big part of, okay? Let's make that, let's put that out there right now. We've got basically every politician on the left and the right saying the word we when talking about Israeli strikes. And I've got a video a little bit later today talking about a part of a Tucker Carlson interview that I think most people are missing. A pretty stunning admission. But this morning, Trump, I think, had a very different tone and took the time to roast a couple of woke reporters. And there seems to be some hope that there may be some peace talks going on right now as planes are now on the way to Oman, where these talks are scheduled to take place. So let's jump into it. By the way, thanks everyone who has pre-ordered the coffee brand coffee.com/summer summer pack to help us build out our facility. It features a 7-ounce bag of Kona coffee, which if you know anything about coffee, it's about the best you can get. I don't know if we're ever going to have it again, and it's only going to be available in this pack as a fundraiser for us. Plus the Tiger's Blood, which is a strawberry watermelon coconut flavor that is hard to describe, but you're going to love it. Blackberry cream, signed numbered thank you card, and a brand new challenge coin that we printed. There's only about 1,600 left, and once they're gone, they're gone. So link in the description down below, or you can just go to coffeebrandcoffee.com/summer. Now, I want to talk first about Iran. Iran's leader, of course, has said that he rejects Trump's call for surrender. Trump says his patience has run out. First of all, based on this guy's religion, faith, whatever you want to say, he's not surrendering. He may flee to some place like Qatar or Russia or, some other, friendly nation, but he's not going to surrender. There's probably a better chance of him getting evaporated than his surrender. Trump knows this. Trump's dealt with these people before, and he's ratcheting up the language. There's a big difference now and a week ago. Trump told reporters outside the White House, nobody knows what I'm going to do. Iranians jammed the highways out of the capital in Tehran, fleeing from intensified Israeli airstrikes. In the latest attack, Israel said its Air Force destroyed the headquarters of Iran's internal security service. As we promised, we will continue to strike at the symbols of governance and hit the Ayatollah regime, wherever it may be, Defense Minister Israel Katz said. Khamenei, 86, rebuked Trump in a recorded speech played on television, probably from a bunker somewhere, in his first appearance since Friday. The Americans, he's probably not even in Iran anymore. The Americans should know that any U.S. military intervention will undoubtedly be accompanied by irreparable damage. Now, part of me wants to just show him, call his bluff, but I know that that's not what we should do. Look, this guy can't even beat Israel. He's got about a 3% hit rate on his super powerful missiles that I keep getting told they have. I'm not exactly sure that I'm scared about this paper tiger. Now, Trump has teased possible airstrike as Iran's supreme leader warns America. Trump said, I may do it, I may not do it. Trump told reporters on the White House lawn on June 18th. That was this morning. Nobody knows what I'm going to do. The next week is going to be very big. He said maybe less than a week. It's very clear to me that Trump continues to signal to Iran that he wants them to stop their nuclear their nuclear weapons program. Here is Trump. All these people are like, Trump's not answering. Trump's not addressing all this. Here is Trump just 20 minutes ago talking about it.
Some of the people in the base don't want a long-term war. They're afraid.
Some of the people, everybody in the base doesn't want a long-term war, except for every elected official who's in Israel's pocket, apparently.
Into a long-term.
We're not looking for a long-term war. We're looking. I only want one thing. Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon.
Right.
That's it. I'm not looking long-term, short-term. And I've been saying that for 20 years. I've been saying it as a civilian who got a lot of publicity. People would cover it. Very simply, Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. That's it. It's not a question of anything else. And if you did, you wouldn't have much of a country because they would use it on us and they'd use it on other people. And
Now, predictably and understandably, these posts are getting flooded with people saying, yeah, we've heard this before. I'm sure it'll stop there. And I understand why people say that because I was alive during the WMDs of the Bush Jr. era. But perhaps a silver lining shows that moments ago, at least 3 Iranian military planes left Iran and landed in Oman, the country that is in fact mediating the U.S.-Iran nuclear talks. A deal may be back on the table. Why would 3 regime planes land in Oman for a round of negotiations? I mean, I hope. Certainly these could be, a military officials fleeing. It could be, a wide variety of things. But it's possible. When Khamenei asked who wanted to get out of the country, everyone volunteered. People are skeptical that there's negotiations. These are others running away or going to surrender. There's no way Israel's stopping. Well, I don't know what Israel's going to do other than it's going to do whatever it wants to do. But I will say this is hopeful. I remain the channel. I am not going to turn into a full-blown fearmonger. I'm going to continue to try and maintain some level of hopium with my viewers because I try to do the same thing with myself. I don't know what is going to happen tomorrow, but neither does anybody on Twitter, and most of them are claiming to be clairvoyant, and they know exactly how this is going to shake out. Yes, things in Iraq turned out about as bad as humanly possible. Is it possible that will happen again? Yes. But Donald Trump wasn't the president then. Bush Jr. was. It was a different time, and no matter how many people are spurging out on Twitter saying it's the exact same, it just isn't. Trump is not, Trump has, from Trump's mouth, Trump said Iran wants to negotiate. He reiterated his plan that it should have done so earlier. Why didn't you negotiate with me before all this destruction, he said. Why didn't you negotiate? I said to the people, why didn't you negotiate with me 2 weeks ago? You could have done fine. You would have had a country. In fact, Iran has been in negotiations with the United States, but has not bowed to White House demands. In response to the question about whether it was now too late to negotiate, Trump said, nothing is too late. That was 30 minutes ago. Trump explicitly said he is still open to negotiation. So why would I believe that he continues to lie to our face? I know Bush Jr., I know Iraq and Afghanistan. I know. And everything you say and people say about those two situations being as bad as they were is mostly correct. But Trump has a little different history of having, even if he were to strike Iran, which I would disavow publicly, he's more the guy that would drop a bunker buster on that nuclear facility and move on. I don't think Trump would ever put boots on the ground. I just don't think so. Now, a lot of people are talking about this being a regime change war, and maybe that's the case. Maybe America has negotiated with Israel and said, hey, we'll supply you everything you need as long as you take all the heat. I'd argue that that's probably the most likely scenario. But does Trump have the appetite to attack Iran, and does Israel need any U.S. help anyway? The big issue right now is whether the U.S. military will get involved in an offensive capacity. Let's not pretend that it hasn't been in conflict from the very beginning. In Gaza, it has provided Israel with weapons and intelligence as well as food aid. It has also backed the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, which has been providing meals to people in the enclave, albeit with limited success, as dozens of people have lost their lives around aid distribution points. On the 3 recent occasions, Iran has retaliated to attacks from Israel. The U.S. has helped Israel shoot down incoming missiles and coordinate air defense. American generals have been side by side with Israeli counterparts to help them out. Will Trump now go further and actively attack Iran? On one hand, he doesn't even need to. Israel has been very successful decimating Israel militaries, not only hitting the country's nuclear program, but also its air bases, ballistic missiles, and fuel depots. If the U.S. decided not to get involved, it would be relatively easy. Israel has already cleared the way, but why would the White House even want to? Let's not forget, by dropping a big bomb on a nuclear enrichment center, there's also risk of radioactive fallout, not just in Iran, but also on U.S. allies in the region. So this is really a turning point. U.S. involvement would escalate to the conflict in dramatic fashion, but does Trump have the appetite? I don't believe he does. Israel's internal security headquarters just destroyed 1 minute ago. The tornado continues to hit Tehran. We have promised we will continue to harm symbols of the government. I mean, Israel doesn't need our help, and I think Trump knows that. Here's Trump absolutely torching a reporter, by the way, which is, I kind of wanted to end on a happy note.
Have you been answered questions about whether you are moving closer, or you believe the U.S. is moving closer to striking Iranian nuclear facilities? Where's your mindset on that?
I can't say that, right? You don't seriously think I'm going to answer that question? Will you strike the Iranian nuclear component? And what time exactly, sir? Sir, would you strike
Look at these guys are all laughing at him. Laughing at the
please
reporter.
inform us so we can be there and watch? I mean, you don't know that I'm going to even do it. You don't know. I may do it. I may not do it. I mean, nobody knows what I'm going to do. I can tell you this, that Iran's got a lot of trouble.
Yeah?
And they want to negotiate. And I said, why didn't you negotiate with me before? All this death and destruction. Why didn't you negotiate? I said to the people, why didn't you negotiate with me 2 weeks ago? You could have done fine. You would have had a country.
It doesn't sound like a guy who's got his finger on the button to me. Obviously, we're going to have to wait and see how this shakes out. You know, but I don't think Trump needs to join them at all, and I think he knows that. I legitimately think Trump knows that. He wants to negotiate, and he's happy to let Israel bomb them back even further into the Stone Age, as long as it takes. And to be honest, I'm fine with that. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you'll take a chance on my Coffee Brand Coffee Company. We've been around for several years now, and our employees need your help to help us build out our facility. This is a limited time drop. If you've ever had Kona, you know why you should order now. If you've never had it, you should definitely at least try it once in your life. We may never have it again. Plus 2 brand new flavors, new and improved. Signed thank you letter from me. And you're supporting the company. Link in the description below, or just coffeebrandcoffee.com/summer, and you'll find it. Thanks so much, and we'll talk to you again real soon.